Welcome to our weekly market review. As per usual, it's brought to you by ETM Analytics and Treasury One. And as always, I'm joined by currency strategist Andre Cilliers. Andre, I think we made it through the first weekend of 2026 without any Trump bombshell news dominating all the headlines. But there's been a very strong focus out of this weekend, of course, what's been happening in Japan, where the so-called Japanese Iron Lady won with a massive landslide. Prime Minister Takaishi has also been very vocal about implementing fiscal stimulus measures. So this was music to the equity market's ears, not so much about the bond market. I think the two-year bond market, the yields reached levels, the highest levels in the past 3 decades. So they're not all that happy. But of course, always, as always, what happens in Japan has ripples across the world.
Good morning and good morning to everybody out there. Yes, we should send Donald Trump to the golf course more often so that he can play a round or 3 of golf and then sort of leave the world alone. The election in Japan, quite a good thing because she called out the election, was in a coalition and now governing completely on her own, which is always, number one, a good thing, because without a coalition, you have more freedom to move. That said, she's got plans to expand on the fiscal side. And that expansion on the fiscal side is purely to get the economy going. However, I maintain that to get that economy really going, you need world growth, because the domestic demand out of Japan is difficult to kickstart. So you would need world growth. So from an export-led point of view, you need your factories to grow production and export more products and so forth. And there you're up against the Chinese, which is the factory of the world at this point in time. But Japan could very easily catch up there. So let's see how that plays out. Equity markets, obviously positive, because that simply says if there's expansion, if there's growth, companies will do better, and hence equity market will reflect that. Bond markets, not so well, because it brings carry trade and so forth into account. The yen a little bit weaker. So a lot of work to be done by that government to get things going. But as I say, she's got more room to move now because she's on her own, and that helps a lot. So let's see how things, we've been waiting for a heck of a long time for Japan to come out of their slump, to change on the monetary side, to have growth in their economy and so forth. So let's see how that gels out. I think there's a good chance that it might happen.
Yeah, those policies are going to have to be well thought out, because like you mentioned, they've come out of this very strange monetary policy situation that they had, but they also have an aging population, a massive aging population as well. So they've got some significant long-term problems that won't just be resolved within 4 to 8 years. That they're going to have to really think through these policies and make sure that they aim correctly. So let's see what happens. Just looking to the week ahead, massive news coming out of the US, or some significant data prints. I think it's their retail sales, the jobless, as well as inflation. And, each of them individually will have some story to tell. Retail sales will give us some gauge of where the US economy is at the moment, where consumers are. Jobs will be interesting, just because we have seen such significant revisions happen in the last couple of prints. That makes you question whether the labor market is as robust as everyone wants us to believe. And then, of course, inflation is important as we look to interest rate cuts for this year, with the new Fed chair, of course, coming in. We know is a bit of a stickler for tighter monetary policy. But I don't think individually they're going to give us much, but perhaps collectively it could really give us some direction of where the US economy is going.
That's an interesting one, that if you take those 3 figures, it's really, the circle in an economy is around those three, because if there's robust growth in your retail sales, it could mean that the demand is so good by the consumer that they're less price sensitive, so that could have an impact on your inflation. And if that's got an impact on your inflation because of the robust retail sales growth, then it could have an impact on your unemployment figures, because there's more people being employed and so forth. So those three figures jointly is really important. Now, if you look at what's expected, it is expected, but there's been a little bit of a problem with figures out of the US, because there's corrections coming out all the time because of the government that was closed, and that's still got an impact. But the expectation is that inflation might come out a little bit lower, and that slightly lower one could have an impact of what's expected out of the Fed. It's also expected that unemployment figures, with all the corrections, could show a slightly negative picture on the employment, which means that technically your retail sales should be a little bit lower if you get those other two expectations jointly with retail sales. So this could mean that if that comes out that way, it could favor discussions on lowering of interest rates going forward, not immediately, but in the next 3-4 months. And that could have an impact on the value of the dollar. In other words, dollar could weaken a little bit more or further, and that could have an impact on the rand. That could benefit from that. But if it comes out the other way, it could have a reversed impact on that. If I look at the gold price back around the 5,000, then the expectations to me says it's for the figures to come out. Unemployment a little bit worse, inflation a little bit better, rumors or discussions about interest rate declines going forward being a little bit higher.
Yeah, so we're waiting for that narrative, and while we're waiting for that, there's obviously a lot of cross currents, and being an emerging market currency, South Africa is just swinging back and forth.
Yes, well, politically we look okay. The rand markets didn't take the John Steenhuisen not for a third time too badly. They still have a problem with him as a Minister of Agriculture with a foot and mouth disease, but everything seems to be looking okay on that end. And the rand is still riding the wave of a weaker dollar, of stronger and higher commodity prices, which, yes, there was a correction, and we had seen a correction on the rand up to the 16.25, closer to the 16.30 levels, but quickly coming back down from that. So that simply tells me everything is still intact for a rand to ride the wave of weaker dollar, stronger commodity prices, stable local environment, and we're heading closer and closer to our budget speech coming up from Mr. Godongwana, which I don't expect to have too many negative surprises. As a matter of fact, I think we could have a slightly positive impact from that side because of the commodity boom and so forth, which could mean a little bit of a fiscal windfall in terms of tax collection because of mining houses doing better and so forth. So don't expect too much negative out of that area. So my view, rand will continue to be on the stronger end of things and riding the wave of a weaker dollar.
Domestically, we will also be keeping an eye on Cyril Ramaphosa on Thursday, when he will be delivering the State of the Nation address as well. It tends to be more political talk than anything meaningful, but you know, who knows? He might use the opportunity to smooth some of the relations. Let's see what pops out. Andre, thank you very much for your time.
I didn't go there because I was afraid that he might be building another city.
With speed trains. Let's not forget that speech.
You know, so
to me
is
we don't have water.
Sky that's being built that never materializes.
Exactly. Okay, Andre, but let's see what comes out. Thank you so much for your time. We'll chat again next week.
Thank you.